our first guest on our final day of week in the Super Bowl that we will never forget. Super Bowl 56 week here in Los Angeles, California. The head coach of the Washington Commanders, and also one of the few guys who's ever coached in a Super Bowl and also won one, Ron Rivera. Good to see you, Coach.
Thank you. It's good to be here, Rich. Thank you.
You got the W Commanders jacket on, huh?
Yeah, we got the swag. You know, It's kind of a neat deal. And when I put it on for the first time, I kind of had a flashback back to high school.
That's right. It does look like a Letterman jacket that you've got on.
Yeah, they did a nice job. And, you know, the really cool thing also, they have the logo on the back, the shield. It's kind of a neat deal that they did some really nice things.
Well, you can't be a team in the Mid-Atlantic without a shield. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like everybody, that's kind of like a Maryland thing, right?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. It's kind of cool, though. It really is.
Okay, fantastic. Well, congrats on the name change and all of that. When you think of the Super Bowl, what memories hit you?
Right off the bat, I go back to Super Bowl for the 1985 Super Bowl Bears. I really do it. I go back and I think about all those guys. I think about Coach Dicka and just the team and the city of Chicago.
Did you do the shuffle?
No.
How did you, Ron Rivera, miss the Super Bowl shuffle?
I hear that a lot. Now here's what happened.
Yes.
So it was the Monday night game against Miami, the only game we lost. Mm-hmm. We go to the airport. It's like 2:00 in the morning. We're flying back after it.
After your first loss.
After our first loss, our only loss.
I guess.
And Willie Gault's going through the plane, telling everybody, "Hey, we're going to do this video. It's for charity. It's going to be called the Super Bowl Shuffle." And there's a group of us going, "Dude, come on now. We just got beat. We're going to land at 5:30 in the morning, and we got to go straight downtown to a studio." So if you really look at the Super Bowl Shuffle, there were several guys that had to be blue screened in. Yeah. I mean, Walter Payton was, Mike Singletary was, Jim McMahon, William Perry. Not everybody, went that day anyways. And so a group of us aren't in it. And so just because of the fact that it happened right after we lost.
So if you had won that Monday Night Football.
Oh, we'd all been there. Yeah. Huh. Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt in my mind.
And so what you're saying is because it was off of a loss, a late night flight, and a quick turnaround in an early morning. So when I was looking at their dancing, and I thought, looks like they're sleepwalking. They literally
were still asleep.
Because I thought the dancing was always terrible, but they were half asleep.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And so still you wouldn't get green screened in or blue screened in or anything like that?
I wasn't at that level yet.
What do you mean?
There's some very special guys they green screened in. Guys that really, truly, if you look at them, I mean, just, the iconic guys, William Perry, Jim McMahon, sure. Walter Payton, Mike Singletary. I mean, just guys that, that were, they were A-list guys.
Right. So winning that Super Bowl, and we all know that Buddy got carried off. Yep. Did Ditka really get pissed off about that?
No, I don't think so. I think in the moment, I think we really were. I mean, it was such a celebration that you really, you were just happy for everybody. You really were.
Okay, and then Fred scoring that touchdown. What was that like when after he scored?
That was kind of cool. It was, and it's funny though because if you ask Coach Ditka today, his biggest regret was that Walter didn't score.
Right.
Yeah.
Did anybody realize that at the time?
No, I don't think anybody realized it, and that was unfortunate because for all the greatness and everything that Walter had, that's the one thing that I think he thinks about.
Yeah, and I just were you at NFL Honors last night? Did you go there?
No, unfortunately not.
No, I bet because you probably have to take particular good care of yourself, right? Around other people.
I was in bed by 8:30.
Okay, so to me again, the fact that the last award at NFL Honors is a Walter Payton Man of the Year award. It's just it's a beautiful moment every single year. What memory of sweetness do you have that might, tie this maybe a little bit together here, Ron?
Really was the way he treated people. And I will never forget the day he met my mother and father. We were playing Dallas. In Dallas, it's the game we beat in 44. Where's your
These are over your right shoulder. He's your
hiding, huh? It was the Super Bowl year. It was 85. We were playing in Dallas. One of the things that I had got written into my contract was that the team would fly my parents to an away game and treat them, like kings. I mean, kings and queens. I mean, they put them up in the hotel. They paid for all their meals. They paid for their tickets. Walter just happened to be walking by when I greeted my parents, and he came over and introduced them. He gave my mom a hug, And then he turned to my dad and says, Gino, let's go buy a beer. So he took my dad and got him a beer in the bar. And just the way it was like he knew them forever. And that, to me, is the essence of the Walter Payton Man of the Year, is that you treat everybody special. And so when, I had one of my players won it. Thomas Davis won it. And that day, it's one of those things that I was so proud of Thomas, because I knew who Walter was. And Thomas epitomized Walter, in my opinion.
So, yeah, because it's one thing to just say, hi, nice to meet you. Maybe, obviously there weren't camera phones back in that day. Yeah. But, take a picture if necessary. But then to say, hey, let's go grab a beer.
And then several years later, when I was working with the National Hispanic Scholarship Foundation, we did the culmination tournament in Puerto Rico, and Walter came with us down there. And my father, being of Puerto Rican descent, I flew my father out for the event. He saw my dad and said, Gino, let's go get a beer. And that's what they did. They went in and got a beer.
So now it started a tradition.
Yeah. So, anytime they, it was, I told my dad, I said, just so you know, Walter doesn't always drink beer all the time, Dad.
Yes.
Said, but it was kind of cool because he got to tell his brothers, in Puerto Rico, hey, Walter Payton bought me a beer.
Yeah. I saw his son last night too.
Oh, Jarrett? Yeah. Oh, what a good dude. Right. Good young man.
And it just means so much. And then, for Whitworth now to play the Super Bowl with that patch on his, because that patch is pretty
That patch
sweet,
means
man.
a lot to a lot of, it really does. It honestly, truly does. And I think it's something that the league really likes to point to, because it really does show that there are guys that are truly committed to giving back to their communities. And we should, because they support us. They buy the tickets, they buy the merchandise, they cheer for us, they boo us on occasion. But for the truth of the matter is, we should also give back. And so to see the players do these things that they're doing today, I think it's great. I really do.
Washington Commanders head coach Ron Rivera here on the Rich Eisen Show. I got to get used to saying that.
I do too.
I'm used to hearing it, right? So is the quarterback of the 2022 Commanders on your roster? Right now?
That's part of what we're working through. Can the guys that we have on the roster ascend to be that kind of guy? Is that guy out there in the draft? Is he in free agency? Can we make a trade for a guy? Those are the things that we're working through right now. And I know this because, Martin Mayhew, Marty Herney, those guys, they're working on these things right now. And when we get back, that'll be one of the topics of conversation as we prepare for the combine.
So are you already grinding tape on kids at the college level, getting some footage back from the Senior Bowl, things like that?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
We were represented at every one of these bowl games, these college bowl games. We had guys watching, particularly the quarterback position, and really working through these things. And like I said, we're not going to just stop on the college level. We're going to look at the free agents. We're going to look and see what else is out there for us.
Okay. And so what do you do now in this offseason at the combine and things of that nature? Walk me through what your role is as the HC of the WC here. What you got?
The biggest thing we do, more so than anything else, that I think is one of the most important things is when you get an opportunity to interview the players. We interview them a little differently, I think, than some of the teams.
What do you mean?
Well, one of the things we like to do is we like to incorporate tape. We want to hear them talk about what's on tape. We try to gauge as much as we can.
Showing them their plays from the last year, or how far back do you even go with this?
We'll go
tape?
to last year. It's not all good. We're looking for things. We're listening for certain answers. And so as we go through that process, that helps us. It really does. And then, once we decide which guys we want to bring in, we'll do the same thing. When we're allowed to have the visits,
right.
And hopefully we'll allowed to have the visits in person. I'd much rather visit in person. And if we can fly guys into our city and give them an opportunity to sit down and talk to them and listen to them and then show tape and go through that as well. Because you really can't prepare for all the tape. They can prepare for the Q&A. Okay, they can rehearse all that, but they can't look at all their tape and be able to answer all those questions.
You have a good example of maybe someone you drafted anywhere that you've done this with?
We did it with
the answer from the tape was just like, okay.
Yeah. We did it with Cam Newton and because when I was in Carolina and he was our first pick.
Yeah.
And we sat down and we showed, the highlights obviously, but then we saw some of the lowlights. And one of the things that I always appreciated about Cam was he took responsibility right off the bat. And as soon as the play came on, he put that big smile on. He said, "Oh, that was my fault." And I watched the tape, and I kept thinking to myself, I don't know if that was your fault, because I thought that receiver could have pushed that a little bit higher. But he had thrown it. It was one of the few interceptions he threw that year. But he just had that smile and took that responsibility. And he said, "Yeah, I could have put that out in front of him a little bit more." So when you get guys that want to take responsibility, when you get guys that want to take the pressure off their teammates, that's an important thing. That really is. But right away, he looked at the tape and said, "Oh, you know what? They came out. They were in cover 2. And I threw that ball out over there, and the corner was able to work underneath it. And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, but that guy should have pushed it instead of running a flatter, 70. Should have taken it higher. And so you get that sense that he understood, he knew. At the same time, though, he didn't want to put it on his guy. He took the hit, and so I that was impressive to me.
Ron Rivera here on the Rich Eisen Show, and that was the previous to this weekend, only matchup between 2 first overall drafted quarterbacks facing each other in the Super Bowl was Super Bowl 50. How do you see this one playing out this weekend?
To me, it's going to be if one of two things happen. Watching this year's playoffs, which I thought were phenomenal, some great games. The one thing that Cincinnati did struggle with was protecting the quarterback.
Right.
And with this pass rush the Rams have, that could make an immediate impact in the game. But if they can protect the quarterback, if they can run the ball early on, I think Cincinnati can slow that pass rush down a little bit. That'll work to their benefit. So it's one of two things. If the pass rush is working for the Rams, that could be pretty deadly. On the inverse, if they can run the ball early on and set the tone and tempo and take the pressure off of Joe Burrow early, I think it could go Cincinnati's way.
So now, obviously you didn't have a shot at Burrow, but you evaluate everybody.
Yeah.
So what was your evaluation of Burrow coming out of college?
We really liked him a lot. We believed he had the mental ability to learn, grasp, understand right away, and he had the skill set. I mean, you could tell that on tape. Didn't know he'd be there in his second year. But, we felt he was a guy that had that type of ability, had the types of quality that you're looking for in the quarterback.
Would McMahon did he smoke cigars too? Did Jim smoke cigars and talk about his ice and stuff like that, or what, like he's doing right now?
He did. Jimmy Mack was special. He really was. A tremendous leader, a guy that you would want on your team because he's that kind of guy. He's a foxhole guy. You want him in that foxhole with you because Jimmy Mack was a guy that was going to find a way to win. And he was really one of those guys that I think was the epitome of team guy because he did a lot of things for us and really helped us get to where we wanted to be.
Did you see the headband the day he wrote Roselle on it before he put it on? Did you see?
Oh yeah, in the locker room. I mean, he had a few of them. He was going to wear it.
What do you mean he had a few of them?
He had remember he had a couple of messages. He had the one for his teammate and that he put on as well. So. Jimmy Mack was a guy that loved having a good time. He always had fun. He really did, and that was one of the cool things about it. When things were tough. When I remember one time in training camp, it was a hot day. It was a brutal day, and it was we had like 4 or 5 straight days of double days in pads. That's a thing of the past,
Yes, indeed.
So. I think it was about after the 4th one, and it was a hot afternoon, and so we're kind of going through it, and Coach was on us. Dicko was getting after us pretty good. And Jimmy Mack yelled out, "Hey, Iron, what the heck? Why are you getting on the guys, man? It's a brutal day." He said, "Oh, yeah? What do you think?" Said, "I think you got to let us go in. Take the afternoon off." And so then Dicko just turned around and said, "All right, guys, take it in." He said, "But don't be late for these meetings or I'll get after you." And that's kind of how he would stick up for us. And it was just one of those things he felt. Now, as a coach, I wonder if they didn't set that up where, What
do you mean?
Every now and then you have one of your guys step up, and that way, he's your leader. And come on,
look at that. That's some next level, stuff right there.
Yeah, a little mental warfare.
So now you say as a coach, so is on occasion. This has happened for you, or you walk up to your guy? Or?
I won't say that directly.
Okay, I don't want you to give up the trick of your trades here.
Yeah.
Okay,
but again, seriously though, the one thing about Jimmy was Jim McMahon was to me the ultimate teammate.
Before I let you go, I do want to just ask the question about you are the coach. Everything that's going on with your organization. How do you parse all this out? I mean, how do you handle all this?
Well, the biggest thing more than anything else is that to me, when everything comes down to football, everything comes down to football, and all the other stuff that's not football specific, I kind of categorize as that's interesting for us as football. Okay, the other stuff that when I step away from football, then that to me it becomes important. It becomes something that I need to handle. I need to take care of. But the football stuff, I try to say focus on. I try to get the players to understand, what's important and what's interesting. And if we can keep the focus on the things that we need to compartmentalize, separate, it gives us a chance to be able to focus in on playing.
Coach, appreciate you coming here.
Before I forget.
Okay, what do you got? Is that a bag?
Sure. Yeah, it's a little swag bag.
Okay, let me see this. Hold on. Very good. Thank you. Very good. It's a swag bag.
Yeah.
All right, Washington. It says Washington football team
okay,
on it. It's not.
No,
we haven't gotten to the bags.
Here comes the big. This is the big moment. There you go. The Commanders.
Lid. Very nice.
Yeah, okay.
All right, I got that.
There you go.
It's a pretty sweet hat. Look at this, Chris. Look at that right there.
That looks so good. I mean, if you put that over the top of that star back there.
Oh.
Well, now, TJ, sit down for a second, TJ, will you please? You got this hat.
Has TJ ever given you anything with a star on it?
He has never given me anything with a star on it. I now have gotten something with a W on it. This is very nice. Thank you. So it's okay that you can talk to him. I don't know if you see that velvet rope that's in between those bags over your right shoulder. You see what that is?
Oh, yeah.
That is because there's been a lot of cowboy hating his way on this show. He has a tier system as to who he allows to talk to him.
Okay. That's why he hasn't answered.
Wow. Well, you're allowed to talk to him, though. You're allowed to talk to him, Coach.
You're in the tier 1, Coach.
See,
Washington football team has 3 Super Bowls.
He's got a tier system of people who are. It's up on the screen there. If you have 3 or more wins in the Super Bowl, let's talk. You're in the VIP. 1 to 2 wins, you're in the club. So congratulations, Coach Ron Rivera. You had no idea coming here to the Rich Eisen Show today. You're in the club.
Okay, I can appreciate that.
Had you somehow, unfortunately, lost Super Bowl 20, you'd have to wait in line.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Well, also, Rich, like Coach, Washington football team, they do have 3
Washington Commanders.
Commanders. I'm sorry. They do have 3 Super Bowl wins, so they're in VIP.
Oh, and Ron personally has one himself.
So, Coach, welcome.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
He's clicking you open right there. If you want to,
you know what I'm saying? Have a seat. We're going to look over. We're going to talk some football as well.
I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you.
Now you may go forth into your Friday, sir. Thanks for coming with all the swag. I always appreciate you calling in. And of course, you and your wife, your lovely wife, helping with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and your run. I'm going to do it again in about 2 months' time.
We'll be there to support you.
I really appreciate that, and your dog too. I hope as well. So
thank you.
Honestly, the videos you put out there and what you've done and financially supporting it. There we go, right here. Okay, we got it up right here. What's your dog?
That's Tahoe.
Oh,
Tahoe.
What a great
he
name.
loves everything about balls.
There you go.
Go Tahoe.
Wow. Yeah,
the dude can't help himself.
That ain't happening for me. But maybe that should happen. Should somebody roll a ball out? Maybe I'll run faster.
I don't know.
Maybe Tahoe should run with you, Rich.
Roll a bottle of wine or something, maybe.
No, Tahoe. If Tahoe runs with me, it'll be just like those simulcams where somebody's right off the screen and I'm barely out of my stance. Thanks for coming on, Coach.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. That's Ron Rivera right here at Riverboat Ron HC on Twitter and Instagram. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.